All right, today, of course, Bitcoin is in a flash crash. Some of that may be caused by the Chinese, but we're going to dive into that today. My name is Paul Vera, and welcome back to TechPath. Joining me today is one of our technical analysis gurus here, Mr. Evan Aldo.
Great to be here.
Yeah. Last time we were together, you were on remote.
Yeah. Nice to be in the studio finally in South Florida. Yeah.
I like it. Well, you're just around the corner, so it's easy. It's like a Chipotle run for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just 10 minutes away.
Swing by Chipotle, come by the studio. Evan, we got a lot to talk about today. Of course, for many of you, as you guys know, the big issue, and of course, I think everybody's asking is, what happened with Bitcoin this morning? Are we in some sort of flash crash? Are we seeing some definitely some opportunities here in terms of some longs?
It is very interesting. So, I mean, the main thing is our bull market support band, which is about 42.5 that we need to keep. If we lose that level, in all likelihood, probably a 90% chance or even more, all coins are going to dump with it, and we're going to go much lower. However, it does look okay on a lot of our lower time frames. We do have money flow curving up. It does look like there's a good shot, maybe a little bit more than 50%, maybe 60, 70%, that we keep that line and we keep going up. And that'll be a great case for some altcoins, and they'll really be able to flourish over the next few weeks, hopefully, in that case. I
think there were some big buying opportunities on altcoins today. I jumped into, gosh, everything I could get to quick enough, that I had some dry powder for doing some trades. But I want to jump to a couple of stories here on what is causing this. And this first one by the street, basically talking Bitcoin, of course, dips below the 44. We saw it in the 43 range. The big one is around this whole issue with Evergrande. And Evergrande, for some of you, if maybe you're just tuning into the channel for the first time, best thing to do is, of course, subscribe. But Evergrande is essentially the Lehman Brothers for China, if you think about it. It's a huge real estate conglomerate that is essentially run into some very big financial woes, and they've really kind of caused what potentially could be a ripple effect on the Chinese economy. Here's the way that it flows into Bitcoin and or cryptocurrency in general. If you look at this little chart right here, I'm just going to run at this. Bitcoin slumped to 43.4. This was this morning, dipping 11%, scourging news, obviously, about the Chinese real estate company. Set off a panic selling spree among traders. In the past day alone, cryptocurrency dropped as low as 42.5, which is what you're talking about, Evan, in terms of that resistance position. And Ethereum, of course, dipped almost 10% down to 3,012 bucks. I think we actually saw it hit below. But the point being is that when you look at the ripple effects on any economy or any trading economy, especially in a major asset class like cryptocurrency, the bigger related asset classes like real estate, stocks, bonds, have so much impact on what can happen in those related asset classes. So if you get a big real estate investor that has hundreds of millions, if not billions, in Bitcoin, and all of a sudden they're sitting on a big situation with their own investments, which is their core business, their real estate empire, and you have basically the CCP probably either one going to have to come in like the US government did during Lehman Brothers here in 2008 and bail them out. But guess what happened? That set off a huge economic downturn, which is another big concern. I want to jump to the charts quickly on Bitcoin with you, and just to let you guys know, we're going to do a lot of these kind of analysis on market Cipher. These are called market movers. The market movers that we do from time to time are where we pull a little bit of research together. Guys like Evan and myself will come in, we'll do a little bit more TA for you in terms of technical analysis, but it's not investment advice. Best thing, do your own research, get out there. Hopefully this is going to put you at least in the right track, going in the direction to go make some money in the market. Evan, let's jump into Bitcoin real quick, take a look at what you've got. First of all, let's give for some of our audience that maybe doesn't have a full understanding of market Cipher. Let's go through that first. Can I jump to it?
So basically, right here I have Market Cipher, and there's two main things. So on the top here, this is Market Cipher A, and it gives us some indications of the direction. So these big blood diamonds right here, and they're more powerful on higher time frames. Let me go to the daily real quick. And you see this blood diamond right here. We got this last night, and it's played out nicely. We've come down to this very important 382 fib level. This is also known as our bull market support band level right here. So that's the basics of Market Cipher A, and these These yellow diamonds are more bullish action, red diamonds, red means down, and then the yellow and green obviously means up. And we go down here to market cipher B right here with these momentum waves. So as you can see, we could draw divergences out, bullish and bearish divergences. So we take our trend line and you see these momentum waves, and this is also money flow here, so red and green money flow. We still have money flow coming in on the daily. That's not a cause for concern. However, you do see over here, this momentum wave was coming down, and then right here, this was happening as price was coming up. So we draw out our nice bearish divergence, bam, we went down right there. And the same thing kind of played out here. We came back up, but we still came down here, and this is what you call this little red dot here. This is what you call a trigger wave on market cipher B, and these mean business. Look, went all the way down back to our basically our bull market support band. Will we keep the level? We could look at more of a lower time frames to determine that, and I've been looking at really low time frames like the 15-minute lately. And a big thing on market cipher B is the curvature. So you want to see curvature, especially when you're in red money flow, and then you want to see at the end of it, you want to see some trigger waves there. So we have two nice little trigger waves there. I went long this morning right off of this 382 fib level because it's such a big, important fib level. I know that there's at least a 90% chance we're going to have some type of reaction off of it. So I took profits right away and locked in at my entry point, my stop loss. So this is a risk-free trade right now. I'm going to make a lot of money if this goes up, and I'm not really going to lose anything if it goes down.
Yeah, and I think when a lot of people are understanding how to use trading, and this is something Ev and I have talked about, is that if you're in most traditional trading ecosystems, maybe you're in Coinbase Pro, or maybe you're trading on a Voyager or somewhere like that, a lot of times people are doing what they call spot trading, where you just put money in and you're done. What we're talking about today is taking you a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole into tools like Market Cipher, but others as well. You've got Phoenix, Bybit, etc. Those are the kinds of accounts that you probably need to be going out there, working on and getting them set up. So you can kind of start in this. But Market Cipher, of course, is something we use here in relationship to some other things that we do internally. When you look at Bitcoin, Evan, and so let's go back. I want to show some of the audience a little bit of the historical. Let's take a look at May so they can kind of understand why this is so great to use. I mean, I'm still just unbelievably blown away by how accurate Market Cipher is. It's just ridiculous on the accuracy.
Yeah, I could show. So we look around May 10th is kind of where everything went downhill really badly. May 10th was a good place where, and you see right here. So this was this was our giant correction. This was almost about 50%. And then right when this happened, if you look down here at Market Cipher B, what was really indicative of it was this money flow crossover. If you got out right here in this money flow crossover, I mean, by the time it confirmed, it would have been somewhere around here. You probably would have got out somewhere between 57 and 54, which is a lot better than staying in all the way there. I remember I was at Yellowstone National Park when I got all these notifications. Alerts. I had to do something, take a break and do some trades. But yeah, it definitely saved me a lot. And then if you look over here, you wait a few months, maybe a dollar cost average in here if you believe in Bitcoin as a long-term thing. And then if you want to do a leverage trade or something, look right here. It's a similar thing happened. Money flow crossover into the green. It happened there, then it went back into the red, but you wouldn't have been too off. I mean, it still went back up there as long as you didn't have a crazy amount of leverage on. You probably would have been all right. So it is very accurate, especially these money flow crossovers. They're even more powerful. I'll talk about the VWAP a little bit. So you see this yellow line right here. This is the VWAP, and it's basically direction of price. And if you have direction of price, see how it's coming up here, down to up. If it's coming up while money flow is coming up at the same time, that's an even stronger area. And we saw it back here. This was our May dump. VWAP coming down while money flow is coming out. Very, very strong.
Yeah, and on money flow with the VWAP, I mean, that's a good example right there when you're talking about, especially what is the time frame on that? Let's go up to where the money flow starts to come in.
Over here?
Yeah, right there.
This was about July 3rd, July 29th.
All right, so that was when we started to see the ascent. I mean, it's a great indicator. I think a lot of times people miss these, even on Market Cipher, because I watch, it's like a pastime of mine is watching Market Cipher traders on YouTube, which is how we found you. We're looking for pros out there that do a great job on this. But I'm always surprised at how that kind of comes into play. The other thing is blood diamonds. Let's talk about those because those are great indices on where to identify certain triggers in the chart itself. Let's go back to the chart. Because there was a blood diamond back in May.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
the 2-day blood diamond right here. I mean, the same thing where you had that money flow crossover on
Yep.
the daily, just another thing to have more confidence, to reassure you that price is definitely going down here. We are repeating it here, but keep in mind, a lot of people who are new to this don't realize they could go away. We have another day and 8 hours until this confirms. And another thing too is when they appear on the weekends, more than often than not, they don't play out as much, or they do go away. There's a lot less trading volume on the weekends, why I always tell new traders don't trade on the weekends, because it is harder on the weekends. But I mean, this one isn't as strong as this one, in my opinion, because here you see there's a clear money coming out and we have a tight little trigger wave here.
Yep.
Those are really strong. Here you have money flow coming in. The VWAP was coming up here. I'd say more likely than not, this could have already played out. We had our
could
correction.
be a bullish. Yeah, it could be a bullish signature right there in terms of that. Okay, so let's look at for trader and just for anybody that's in Bitcoin right now, because a lot of people, whether you got in another opportunity to buy the dip, which is what we always say, buy when everybody's bleeding, and that's the key here. If you look at this and some of the indices that you're seeing right now, live charting, where do you feel this has the potential to recover to?
Well, you know, right now, so I look at the smaller time frames, and our two big fib levels, the two main fib levels that I have right here, the 0.5 and the 382. So, you know, if we look at the 15-minute, or let me go over here, get rid of that. If we look at the 15-minute, you know, I mean, if you come out here in terms of bleeding out for money, if we come back into the green, potentially we could come back up to this 0.5 fib level. That would be around, you know, 46, 47.
What would be the gain there? Let's take a look at that.
Let's see, from where we are right here, that's about a 6% gain. And I mean, if you map this out when it would happen, I mean, we could take our measuring tool down here. Let me zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
And you would want to, when you try to measure this out, try to get the lowest point and then map it to, you know, approximately where we would come. We'd probably come money flow cross over there. So that would bring us positive until September 21st. So maybe another bullish week, and then we'll see what happens from there. We could also look at the 30-minute here, and this might be a little bit better. Another thing with Market Cipher, a lot of times, not always, but when you see these 4 yellow X's, these mean big whale dump X's or big manipulation, people shorting with a lot of leverage or whatever. Usually when you have 4 of these, that means it's done, and then you look for your next, you know, area of support, you go along there. We can measure out where this would bring us to. Maybe we're forming the bottom right here, you know, maybe not, but I think there's a good possibility. We would measure it out to, actually, let's go back, measure it out from here approximately. Right, yeah, approximately right here. Obviously, there's not 100%, but it would bring us, you know, the same, you know, September 22nd, September 23rd, something like that.
Yeah.
It's that general
Still,
area.
though, that's a good bullish indicator, I think, for a nice recovery on this. But again, these are the times in which it's really meant for Market Cipher, this kind of volatility in terms of trade capability and being able to make some money, especially if you're using leverage on whether it's on Bybit or Phoenix. All right, so blood diamonds. We've talked about the yellow crosses. Let's talk about golden crosses.
Golden crosses,
those don't happen as often, and we recently had one.
Yeah.
So explain where and why this occurred.
So I have it on my chart. I have the it's the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. And when they cross over, I was looking the other day historically when so it's the 50-day moving average crossing over the 200-day moving average. And when that happens, usually, I mean, it takes things take time to play out. It usually means either you're going to go bullish immediately, go sky high, or you're going to consolidate. Maybe you could even go down another 20, 30%, and then you have a nice play sky high. We recently had back on my chart, you could see on June 18th, we had the death cross, which is the opposite. That's where the 50-day crosses below the 200-day moving average. And, you know, I mean, we went down. It was accurate. We didn't go down a crazy, crazy amount.
It wasn't the fall off everybody was expecting.
Yeah, we thought everyone was saying 20K. Nope, we went down 30%. So, you know, if we do have, say, a 30% increase from this, if it's, we did recently, we just had the golden cross September 14th about if we go up 30%, that would bring us up to here about 60,000. So not all-time highs, but we could come close to that. I also would compare, this is another indicator in Market Cipher, not too many people have been talking about. You see the VWAP, a monthly VWAP coming up right here. I think I compare this to the golden cross is another way to look at it. And this takes time to play out. We see we have the VWAP coming up. It could take a month, maybe a month and a half to play out, but it's indicative of us coming up. This could be the plan to keep traditional cycles where we top out around December, around January. This would keep us bullish for the next 2 months. We still could have a red September, be bearish in September, like historically, not during bull runs, but historically every year, Bitcoin and crypto is usually bad during September and then gets better towards the end of the year.
Yeah, and I think that's been, it's an argument that a lot of people are having right now on YouTube, and that is whether or not we will see the traditional cycles play out because of some of the manipulation and also just so many other, factors that have kind of flowed into this particular run. Retail, obviously structured investment. Now you've got so much going. Obviously China came in and did their little move on the Bitcoin miners. So a lot of those things were somewhat unpredictable, which of course has kind of changed the calendar a little bit. If you look at that and compare, do you feel like this bull run is over by the end of the year, or do you feel like we float into 2023?
It could go either way. It's hard to say. I feel like everyone's saying it's going to be something different, and no one wants to say that. Like, well, I don't see any reason to believe it's going to be that much different. I don't see any reasons. People are saying May it could top out, May of 2022.
Oh, wow.
I know some people think it's going to top out in 2 weeks. The way I map it out, and I could show you on my screen on the weekly, is I go, and this is, so I was mapping it out from here. If we go up to the same thing, it would bring a top out around January, December if we have this type of increase. And this is a basic way to map it out. From here to here, what would be the same type of increase? It'd be about 90% increase. So it would bring us close to 100,000, maybe a little bit above 100,000. My main prediction is somewhere between 90,000 to 150. Maybe if we have a blow off top, maybe in the last 2 weeks or something, we could go 180. I don't see us going anywhere above 200, not in this cycle. I think that's just too optimistic.
See, I'm a little bit more conservative. I mean, I stay in the conservative boat on this end of year, still holding at the 100K mark for me, at least. And again, goes a lot back toward many of the indicators that you're pointing to in terms of money flow, some of the action that we'll see, price action that's probably going to start flowing into the market. The one question I would have, there's two things actually. One that we kind of control to a certain extent, and that's an ETF. If an ETF rolls in, just the news of it alone will have kind of a cataclysmic effect, both in a good way. But then if you look at this story right here, I just want to jump to this one. Evergrande's, and this goes back to Evergrande and what their $300 billion debt crisis, could it basically run into crypto? And it goes back to what we talked about earlier in the beginning of this segment, is if this has a rippling effect on the US in terms of the major investment. The key here is going to be the whale wallets to really be watching closely, which is going to be a huge indicator on which way the market could potentially go.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's a lot of fear, uncertainty, doubt with that. And, it's one of those things where it's the opposite of buy the rumor, sell the news. This is kind of buy the fear right now, so maybe it could be a good buying opportunity. I'm more of a technical guy. I like to look at money flow and historical data more than just a little news here and there. Sure, it could throw the price off, but there's always things. There was China banning Bitcoin a few months back. There's always stuff with China like that. It doesn't worry me too much.
I like it. You're a positive here.
Yeah.
You're going on the upside here, Evan. So I'm loving that. Of course, you guys want to hear more. We're going to do more segments like this on some altcoins. We'll also bring Evan in occasionally on different main projects as well, and get into some of the technical analysis across, especially where we see the future, and that's going to be looking at some of the NFT projects that are coming live soon. So we'll probably see a lot more of Evan here on the network. If you guys, of course, are listening in over on the podcast, make sure and give us some likes over there. If you're here on YouTube, the best thing to do is subscribe to the channel, get more of these types of episodes, but also a lot of our interviews as well. We bring in executives from all over the world. If you have an idea for a show, you can just hit me up on Twitter @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.